here's Brody Brazil.
Well, right now across Major League Baseball, it continues to be a busy, complicated, and even confusing time relating to potential relocation or expansion of franchises. I mean, at this moment alone, think about it. You've got the Oakland situation, the Royals situation, the Rays situation, the Chicago White Sox potential new stadium. There is so much going on in so many different places, and I didn't even include Salt Lake City or Sacramento or obviously Las Vegas. So if you're Portland and you've been at this for a while with the Portland Diamond Project, you kind of need to keep yourself relevant, so to speak, and in the conversation and let everybody else know that you're still out there. Well, in Portland, they're in the works of something right now which could be a very big deal. But again, going back to Major League Baseball and these potential expansion groups, right? The winter meetings were just out in Nashville, and everybody was touting Music City as a potential new home for expansion with Major League Baseball. So that's kind of a front runner. But let's not forget Big League Utah. And there's a Montreal baseball project. And then there's the Orlando Dreamers, which are trying to get a big league team, a third maybe big league team down in Florida. And there are others, including this Portland Diamond Project. And I'm not even including in this Las Vegas, which through relocation might be getting a baseball team. Obviously, Big League Utah wants to take advantage of maybe potentially hosting the A's as a showcase for themselves. So I think you can see here, right now and lately, there's been a ton of competition to try and attract Major League Baseball. This was the statement on the 30th of January from the Portland Diamond Project. It says, quote, "The Portland Diamond Project continues its effort to bring Major League Baseball to the Portland metro area and confirms the reports that it is in negotiations to acquire the 164-acre RedTail Golf Course. It has plans on creating the largest sports and entertainment district in the history of Major League Baseball. After careful consideration," this is a quote, "after careful consideration of many other Portland metro area properties, we have decided that the scale, the timing, the availability, and the opportunity that this site possesses simply could not be a better fit for our project," said Craig Cheek, the founder and president of the Portland Diamond Project. "We think this site not only will put us in the best position to acquire a Major League Baseball team, but will afford the Portland metro area the chance to build something truly transformative, a game changer economically and socially," end quote. There will also be no further comment at this time. So the acquisition, or at least right now it sounds like the negotiation for acquisition of land, is a big deal. And just to give you the lay of the land, there's Portland. You can obviously see the downtown corridor there right by the river. We'll point that out in yellow. And that's kind of where the Portland Diamond Project was initially aiming towards. I'll talk about the Lloyd Shopping Center in just a second. They were trying to fit in a ballpark in a very tiny plot of land, but it was downtown. It was creative, and it probably was also going to be difficult. This site, this 160-acre site, which is a current golf course, you can see that arrow pointing towards it in orange right there. And so it's a distance away from the Portland downtown area. This is a little bit farther away from what most teams and arenas and stadiums are doing these days and building something downtown. This is a little bit of a departure from that. But obviously securing this land and securing that much land is a big deal. The new site, I should tell you that the Portland Diamond Project, they are negotiating purchasing it from the city for $50 million. I mean, that is serious business that the interest group trying to bring baseball to Portland is going to spend about $50 million and put their money where their mouths are in terms of this commitment. Now, this site, I should tell you, is a bit of a departure from the last year and what the PDP has been working on, that Lloyd Center Mall that I was telling you about. It's downtown. It's kind of a postage stamp. It fits in between a bunch of different buildings, and they were going to have to do this rectangular-shaped stadium, which, you know what? I saw the renderings. It looked like a cool idea. It looked very unconventional. It would have stood out for sure if they could have pulled it off, but it just seemed complicated and so difficult to make happen for a variety of different reasons, logistically, maybe politically, all the above. So this 164-acre site, I mean, it gives you a lot of room to roam and grow. And like they said in the statement, it would be the biggest land development in Major League Baseball history. 164 acres. You can do so much, not just the stadium, but so much more with all of that land. And I think the biggest takeaway here is not only is this a commitment for the Portland Diamond Project, this is something serious, this is that step forward, this is that attention getter for them, but this also puts them on a much better track to have a bigger site, probably a better site in terms of all the less red tape that existed previously when they were considering this Lloyd Center Mall, a shopping center that, like a lot of them these days, are being considered for replacement. And obviously a big league ballpark is what they were thinking about doing there. Okay, so here are my takeaways for the Portland Diamond Project. I mean, securing land and making that $50 million investment, if in fact this is going to happen with the Diamond Project in the city of Portland, what a huge statement to Major League Baseball and its owners to say that not only are we ready for a team, we've got one of the hardest parts in place. Like getting the site first is such a competitive advantage. Now, I know in Nashville, like for example, they've got a plot of land picked out. I'm not certain about who owns it or the acquisition of it or the public funding that does or does not go along with it. And I don't know that situation yet in Portland. But for the Portland group to say, we just bought the land. We spent $50 million on it, and this is just the start. And it's a good piece of land, and this is exactly where you'd want to go, at least from their perspective. That's a huge statement. That is a huge first and difficult step to get out of the way. I would also say, though, about the location, and I'll circle back on this, it just doesn't seem trendy to what other teams across other leagues and sports and stadiums and arenas are doing. I mean, usually right now, you want to go to a more downtown, vibrant place where it's walkable, where public transit is a little bit more accessible. I can't really use the Las Vegas situation as a comparison there because there's really nothing like the Strip across the continental United States. That's a totally different apples and oranges conversation, and it does come with its difficulties. But in most places, like even when the A's were considering Howard Terminal in Oakland or pretty much any other ballpark like the Chicago White Sox, they want to move 3 miles north, closer to downtown Chicago, to a pretty optimal site that's Riverside. So this one is not next to a river, by a body of water. It's not downtown. It's less sexy, less trendy, but man, it still is 160 plus acres, which, by the way, if you do the math, 160 acres could fit 17.7 planned Vegas-sized ballparks on that site. That Vegas ballpark is still projected at somehow 9 acres. So you could fit 17.7 Vegas ballparks on this 160 plus acre site in Portland, Oregon. Again, it's a little bit farther away. It's more open space. It's currently a golf course. I think that gives you perspective on the land, and I don't know how much grading they would have to do or leveling they would have to do. Some golf courses are just inherently flat. Portland does kind of have those rolling hills. So I don't know the terrain or the topography, ooh, fancy word, but obviously you'd have to think that would all be part of a master plan that they are starting to develop. So this is interesting. It's also timely. Let's not take away from that. You know, Portland has always been trying to move this forward. It's not like they're just appearing on the scene. This is not a new group by any means, but they definitely heard all this chatter about the A's visit to Salt Lake City and maybe Sacramento as a host. And they've been seeing what Nashville is doing, I'm sure. And they've been paying attention to the Orlando Dreamers. And there's just so much going on. They wanted to make sure that people knew they're still serious. And they obviously did not want to get left in the dust with all of this going on. So that's the very latest, as I understand it, from the Portland Diamond Project. Hey, you've made it here to the end of the video. You know I appreciate that. Thumbs up down below. That'll greatly help me and this channel and grow and reach more people. And if you're just stopping in here for the first time, you've never seen me or this channel before, welcome. I appreciate you being here. Make sure you subscribe so I can definitely see you back here next time.